So we've got a quorum. I don't want to keep anybody any longer than we need to be here. I think most of us, or at least one, two, three of us, three of the five of us that are members, were at the meeting that we had, the informal meeting we had last month. And so I feel like we've kind of talked through this. So this is just an opportunity for the two of you to make any comments that you have, and for the other members who were here last month, just to put an eyeball on these slides. And these are the same ones. I found a typo just a few minutes ago that I fixed, but same ones that I sent around here the other night. So I think we can go to the next slide, Emily. So this just lists our CC obligations to the commission. This is the same as we use, same template as we used last year. So we can go to the next slide. I think we're okay with this. On this slide, I changed some of the wording and then reflected the wording throughout the slides that we have for the specific recommendations. This is just a real quick overview of the recommendations we are going to make. Anybody, any comments?
I do have one comment, Jason. So with the mobile water bottle filling station, that's something I also wanted to pursue. And I spoke with our parks department because they would be the ones who would implement it.
Mhm.
Um, and they just they didn't feel like they had enough staff or time or resources to take care of it. Um, and so one thing that Ed and I at Coleman and I had talked about was potentially reaching out to other businesses like Lewis and Clark Brewery, who could manufacture one and manage one, or even the BID. We could reach out to them. But at this time, I mean, purchasing a mobile water bottle filling station would require a full-time employee, and
Okay.
Parks is not willing to take that on. So I just wanted to give you a heads up. You can still recommend it. It's not a no forever. It's just it can't happen this year.
Okay. I don't see any reason why we would recommend something that you all aren't wholeheartedly behind or have staff for. So I was under the assumption that that was something that kind of background work was something that was already a kind of a known entity with this. So
And
if
it was, yeah, and it was. And then having another discussion with the director of our parks department, Doug Smith, he came to the conclusion that they're already wildly understaffed and overwhelmed with events, and he just doesn't feel like now is the right time for them.
okay, fair enough, then I don't think it makes sense for us to recommend something that's just not going to be a reality from the city's end.
Mhm.
So
Could I
go
touch?
ahead.
Yeah, just to say, Emily alluded already, but just to say, sometimes we would put things in this year, thinking of next year, the year after. Emily,
I think we're getting a goofball.
Yep. All right, I'm getting it out of there.
Okay.
Jeez. Okay, he has been reported and blacklisted.
Perfect. Um, yeah, I think that we have done that before. I think it puts in giving the presentation, it puts the commission in a strange position because we're not making a recommendation they can act on in this fiscal year. So it to me, when we've done that before, I think it just confuses people. And I don't want to be the one up there asking for something that nobody really wants,
Okay,
especially
that's fine.
in this year. And we can make up to 5 recommendations. I think we had a solid 4. I think we felt pretty good about the 4 we had.
Mhm.
And I would prefer just to feel good about the recommendations we have and table that one for another year. I would be happy to tell them that we had an additional recommendation, but upon further work with staff, that it was one that was decided that there just wasn't enough staff, city staff, to be able to do it. So I think the idea is good. So
Emily, do you have a actual like verbatim? Do they like what does it take to run this that would require a full staff and that they can't do? Because I don't want to just remove this just on the basis that they said they couldn't. If this is still like something that we could pursue another year, I still think it's worth planting in the mind this year, whether it does or
Yeah,
not. 'Cause I think we're kind of looking at all of these as recommendations as is that could be shot down. So this is just another what if that I think we should still pursue.
yeah. So we would have to have somebody who would be able to tow it, place it, remove it from whatever event. Also, our event coordinator in parks would have to revamp the website and create either it would be a fee system or it would be included with events, and that would be at staff level in parks to determine. It would be somebody who is keeping it clean and sanitary, who's filling it and draining it. And also, because it is city property, we would need to have staff at those events.
Yeah. Okay.
Um, and then we would also have to have space to store it. And at this time, Parks doesn't really have anywhere to store it. So then we would have to impose on another department for that. So really it's a lot of moving parts that, you don't really think about. I mean, I certainly didn't until I started digging more into, the cost of it, how we would mobilize it and things like that. And it really is a bit of a time suck. But I do feel like it would be valuable to at least mention it to the commission and kind of like, Jason said, plant that idea. Tyler, I agree. I don't think it's something that needs to go away. It's just, like I said, it's a not right now, but definitely a not ever. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I liked Jason's answer to that, and I, along with you, Tyler, I think having it in people's minds for next time around. But I also think we could pursue additional partnerships. If Parks is too crowded, too busy right now, don't have enough staff, I get that. Perhaps the chamber, or perhaps, maybe there's a 501(c)(3) group that is working on environmental issues or water issues that might like to get their name on it in some way.
Yeah, absolutely. And I also think that like approaching BID or Lewis and Clark Brewery, because they already do so much manufacturing and like to be at most community events and things like that. I feel like there definitely is the need for it. And I also fully believe that there are other people just like us who see the value in it.
So I think we can move it to the 4th recommendation and make a recommendation, alter the slide in such a way as to allow the commission to appreciate that this isn't something that the city staff and park is able to take on at this point, but we see it as a priority for the future, perhaps.
I think that would be great.
You could phrase it as something like seeking partnerships to make this happen.
So I think we can move on. Next slide. I think we can get through these pretty quick, the other ones. So this is what we talked about last month with the continuing to support the sustainability revolving energy loan program. We have 11 residents on the waiting list. We're looking at a combined $130,000 to fund those projects themselves. Our recommendation would be simply to support the program with additional funding, allow the commission the opportunity to decide if and then how much, and make some statement about mending the resolution to prioritize low-income applicants. Again, the commission would have to then direct those people who are responsible for the program to come up with whatever formula they're going to use to make those determinations. We're not a board that makes those kind of determinations, so we simply make the recommendations to do so. Any comment on this particular slide? So if there's no comments and everyone is happy with this, we can move on to the next one, Emily. So we've talked about a couple times. I think we've got the wording pretty good here on a dedicated budget for the sustainability program. It just allows a smoother transition of the funds. The program can get the funds easier. Program can then audit them so they know how much funds they have. So it's not something that's a black box. I think this is something that's been whispered about before. I think all it's going to take is our particular board of citizens making the recommendation to kind of push the commission to make this a reality where the program has its own separate fund, own separate budget. And then you have the opportunity for a program that now can grow. Anybody have anything on this one? Perfect. I think we go on to the next one. So we'll move this to the end. What did we determine was the final cost of the filling station we were looking at? Just to put some numbers on it.
It would be roughly $60,000.
60?
Yes.
Okay. Perfect. I will take a run at editing the language here. I may or may not put a cost on it since we're not really recommending this is something for this fiscal year if we're just planting, unless folks think it's important that the commission sees a cost on it.
I don't think it would be necessary.
But since it's not something we're asking for now, that doesn't make sense. But planting the idea, I think, is the important part. That this would be something that the program would look forward to at some point. So I will spend some time on this slide. I will send this slide around to everybody, just to make sure that we're in agreement that the language sounds okay, before we submit the final presentation. So I think we can move on to number 4, our 4th recommendation. So we spent some time talking about this last time. This is definitely a wordy slide. A lot of the wording here, Peter had some suggestions about what to say in this particular slide about prioritizing or asking the commission to prioritize lane marking and signage for protected bike lanes only within the downtown area. So this would only be within a limited number of streets in the downtown area. It would not require the alteration of any of the parking configurations or loss of parking spaces, which ultimately the long range plan asks for. So this is part of the short-term improvements that have already been suggested. So this is really just I think this is a recommendation for the commission that, these are these are approved plan and approved short-term improvements that just haven't been acted on yet. So, but could be meaningful in terms of not only protecting cyclists, but with the added benefit of protecting pedestrians within the downtown area, because you've got increased visibility to drivers of these lanes and this marking. So this was something that Peter was very passionate about, and it seemed to make sense.
Can all of you see the chat?
So I can see the chat. Yep,
Okay.
and I will make that change, Tyler.
Thank you. Yeah, so sorry. So small.
No,
Ignore it.
no,
Not
no,
a
it's
huge
not
thing,
at
but
all. It needs to be as readable as possible. So that change can easily be made.
And here's the second part of that.
And really, the second part is not meant to confuse anybody. Those streets that are highlighted is this short term, are these streets that have been identified in the short term plan. And so the signage or the streets affected would be the streets that are highlighted here, just basically in the central downtown area for these targeted for these particular improvements. And it's not meant to be a discussion of which streets or where they've already been identified. So it's more of a here's something we can do. Here's a cost that's been associated with it. And so we're making a recommendation that these actions be prioritized. Whereas in the past, a lot of our recommendations were very general about transportation or switching modes, or they didn't have a real direction to them. So this is actually some action that can be taken.
thanks for cleaning this one up from last time. I know this one was the wordiest one or the hardest to kind of reconcile.
Yeah, it was. And I took some notes, and I think we got it. I think we've got it pretty good as far as what we're asking for, and I think it has enough readability that the commission members will recognize what we're asking for as well. So that's it. That is the presentation. Besides making the change for the water bottle, I think we're pretty good on everything else. So I think all we really need at this point is a motion.
So moved.
Oh, you have to make the motion.
Move to accept the presentation as prepared.
I second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
We get an eye or a thumbs up from anybody? I didn't quite hear everybody.
I didn't say anything fully, but I just was curious, and I don't know if it's too late since we all did the motion, but since we removed the water conservation one, and then we don't have the like a real kind of fourth one even. We only really have three total in the end, which I'm saying not saying is bad, but I'm just curious if Emily has like any very low hanging fruit that we could have as like a solid consideration with the group before we completely finalize. I know it's like a Hail Mary, and I'm not trying to do a full Hail Mary, but I just want to know if there is anything we should be considering in this last moment if we just lost one in kind of a last moment way.
I mean, honestly, there's not a whole lot that we could put in at the moment that has been vetted. And so
Okay.
I wouldn't suggest doing it. And also, it says in the resolution to establish CCB that you can have up to 5 and as little as 1. And so we
Okay.
have seen people go before the commission with just one recommendation. And so we don't necessarily need to, um, we don't necessarily need
Jason,
to
get
have
out of here.
another one.
I'm moving to nominate Betsy early on. Just to deflect attention now. Okay, but thank you. I just wanted to check.
Yeah.
That all makes sense, but I think I just want to like, yeah, check the box to make sure that I thought about it and asked.
No, and I think that's fair. One thing I do know from doing this for several years now is that we just need to get on the commission schedule and get this done. Otherwise, we run the risk of missing our window to be able to do this. And so I think having the ones we have, I think are good ones. And you know, this is the opportunity, Tyler. You just start making your list for next year.
That's right.
It's going to be too long if I start now.
Okay.
No, but thank you for this. I hope we don't have to do a whole nother motion. Can I just add my eye, or do we have to do it
Yeah,
again?
no, you can go, please go ahead.
Okay, aye.
There we go. So we have passed the motion, all in favor, and we have our presentation. I will make some changes in the next 24 hours to the water bottle one, and I'll just send that around, but we're solid on everything else so that we can get this to Emily, and then she can get it to Danae, and we can get scheduled for the commission in February and have
Perfect.
that taken care of as well. Does anyone have anything else to add?
No.
Thanks.
And so the only other thing I have, do we have any members of the public that aren't Zoom bombing us that we need to address, just to make sure that we've done that? I know that's part of the protocol.
Yep,
But-
no members of the public.
Okay, I don't see anybody else then. So I appreciate everybody taking a few minutes to come and put this together so that we could get this done. And I again will send around a copy of the that one slide and the final version that we're ready to go with. And then we will meet next month. I'm not even certain what the second Thursday is in February. So, but I'll be emailing when it's time. So thanks again, folks.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, Jason.
Thank you, guys.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.